can I just say, on a completely unrelated topic,
Sure.
but it's a topic that has been, many questions have been asked on recent YouTube channels. That is, there's a newsletter published by Ramanasramam called Saranagati. It's available online on their website. In the latest issue, the February 2023 issue, they have written a profile of Sadhu Om. Someone pointed this out in one of my, in a comment on my blog, and someone had already pointed it out to me, so I'd read it. It is full of inaccuracies, both major and minor. I tried to find out where these inaccuracies come from. There are four sources he meant. The person who wrote it obviously doesn't know much about Sadhu Om, but he's drawn from four sources. Those four sources are, it seems someone published a souvenir, which I haven't seen and I wasn't aware of, called Sadhu Om Swami Birth Centenary, in which there's a summary of Sadhu Om's life, a brief life history or something. I don't know what's written there, but I suspect there are inaccuracies in that. The other sources, they refer to something written by G. Swaminathan, who was one of the sons of Janaki Mata. He wrote something that he had written was posted in Saranagati in 2019. What he has written there, he has been misinterpreted in many ways. That is, he wrote there that Sadhu Om wrote, composed hundreds of songs that have been published. And the person who wrote this article said, inferred that Sadhu Om had written hundreds of songs on Janaki Mata. That is not wrong. That is not correct. Sadhu Om wrote hundreds of songs on Bhagavan that were published. So it was misinterpreted. It's also interpreted there, but Sadhu Om wrote, it said there, but Sadhu Om edited a magazine called Arul. Before he came and settled permanent, well, the way it's worded there is a bit ambiguous, but what it meant is that magazine Arul was published between 1950 and 1955. In 1955, Sadhu Om, who had been editing that for Janaki Mata, and that was a magazine dedicated to Bhagavan, not to Janaki Mata, Sadhu Om came and settled permanently in Tiruvannamalai. And for about 8 years or so, he was living in Ramanasram, and later he was living out of Ramanasram. So referring to that, he said before he came and dedicated himself totally to Bhagavan, he was editing that magazine. The person who wrote this article said before he came to Bhagavan in 1946, he was editing this magazine. So they've taken dates from, inaccurate dates from many places. Swaminathan wrote 1944, Sadhu Om came to Janaki Mata. No. Sadhu Om, in May 1946, Sadhu Om first came to know about Bhagavan. He read Bhagavan's biography in Tamil called Ramana Vijayam. When he read that, I'll tell a little back history. 2 years earlier, he had gone to Chennai, to Madras, as it was known in those days, to join the Mylapore Ramakrishna mission. In those days, he knew nothing about Bhagavan, but he knew about Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. He wanted to become a sadhu there. So he went there, and when he went there, he took a one-way ticket, and before entering the mat, he gave away all his money. He entered the mat, and he said he had come to join the mat as a sadhu. Then one of the senior swamis there took him aside and talked to him. And he saw that he was a very sincere, coming very sincerely, but he told him, no, we have certain procedures here. You can't just come and join like this. You have to be in correspondence with us for at least 2 years. And after 2 years, we may invite you to come and join as a brahmachari. So for the time being, you have to go back. To your place, and you can remain in correspondence with that. while he was talking to Sadhu Om, he said, now it is the time for my puja and meditation. So I'll just go to my meditation room, wait here. He went to his little meditation room, and after some 10, 15 minutes of his puja and meditation, he came out and said, Bhagavan will call you after I've got a message for you, but Bhagavan will call you after 2 years. What that Swami meant by Bhagavan and what Sadhu Om understood he meant was Bhagavan meant Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. So that Swami took this, that he had got some intuition that Swami would be called there after 2 years. And Swami also took that. He took this, they're going to call him after but Bhagavan, taking that to mean Ramakrishna, is going to call him after 2 years. That Swami didn't mention anything about Bhagavan. Sadhu Om didn't know anything about Bhagavan in those days. When Sadhu Om was about to leave, one of the other Swamis called him aside and gave him some money. Sadhu Om said, no, I don't want to take money. I came here to not for money. And that Sadhu said, I saw before you entered, you gave away all your money outside. So do you have any money now? Sadhu Om said, no, he admitted, I gave it away. Then he said, you take this money to buy your ticket back home. Afterwards, you can return the money to us. So Sadhu Om bought a ticket back and he returned to Tanjore, and he later sent that money as suggested by that Swami. And he was in correspondence with them for 2 years. In the meanwhile, after about 2 years, he happened to come across this book, Ramana Vijayam. So when he read Ramana Vijayam and he read to the end, he thought, oh, this Ramana Maharshi seems to be still alive. He was very excited to know that, but so he wanted to travel to Tiruvannamalai, but he wasn't sure whether in Ramanashram they had formalities like in the Ramakrishna Mutt. So he asked some friends of his, does anyone know about Ramanashram, how you can go there? Someone told him there's a lady called Janaki Mata who lives nearby. She's a great devotee of Ramana Maharshi. If you go to her, she'll be able to answer all your questions. So Sadhu Om went to her one evening, went to her house, and when he came there, he explained why he had come, and he was taken to meet her, and she welcomed him, and he told that he had come because he had read Ramana Vijayam. He wanted to see Bhagavan, but he didn't know what the formalities in Ramanashram were. And she said to him, we're going to Ramanashram next weekend, so you can accompany us. And then she asked him, do you know Aksharamlai? He said, no, what is Aksharamlai? She said, this is the song composed by Bhagavan. And so she said, we're going to recite that now, you can join. So she gave him a book. And when he heard Aksharamlai, his heart melted because he could see the wonderful depth of meaning and bhava and everything in that. So that multiplied his devotion to Bhagavan. So the next weekend, he traveled with Janaki Mata to Bhagavan. So, but this article in the Saranagati magazine implies that he came to Janaki Mata in 1944 and was with her for 2 years before coming to Bhagavan. He was with her, he met her 2 days before he went to Ramanashram. So like this, there are many, many inaccuracies in that thing. So someone asked me, what are all the inaccuracies? There are too many to mention. In that article, it said Swami in the Ramakrishna mission told him about Bhagavan. That is not correct. It is said that he came to Janaki Mata in 1944. That is not correct. Like that, the article is riddled with mistakes. So I'm trying to investigate to find out where all these mistakes come from. A lot of them are due to misinterpretation. As I say, Swaminathan, Janaki Mata's son, had written that Sadhu Om wrote hundreds of songs and they've been published. This person took it to mean hundreds of songs on Janaki Mata, whereas actually he meant hundreds of songs on Bhagavan. Sadhu Om was a great poet. So why I say this is anyone who reads that, there's a lot of truth in it, but almost every incident there is not told correctly. Many of these incidents I heard from Sadhu Om himself, so I know I know what is the correct version. So I just wanted to put it on record. What is written there it is full of so many errors, too many to enumerate here, but later I will try and clarify all these things. But what I haven't seen is that souvenir, but writes about the life history of Sadhu Om. Other sources are day by day. What's written in about Sadhu Om in day by day, that is reliable. There's no errors there. There's also reference there to an interview, but was published in a magazine from Hyderabad in the 1980s, and that David Godman reproduced on his blog. That interview is not entirely accurate. They get the dates given there wrongly. And when I was there at the time that interview took place, I asked the person who said he was going to write this in the magazine, I said, before publishing it, please send me a copy so I can check that you've recorded everything correctly. He said he would do so, but he didn't do so. So it's not too bad. It's quite a nice interview. What he's recorded is not too bad. It's not 100% accurate, and the dates are wrong. But this souvenir on Sadhu Om, I don't know anything about that, so I'm trying to get hold of a copy of that so I can verify whether there are errors in that, because if those are the source of some of the errors, that needs to be corrected also.
Thank you, Michael.
Right.
So for those who are not familiar, I think there was as Michael said, there was an article published in the latest issue of Saranagati, which seemed to have many, this article was on Swami Sadhu Om, which had many errors on it. So there was a lot of emails going back and forth on this for the last few days.
Emails and also comments on my blog. People
really?
are asking me to clarify because someone wrote saying that this profile has come for those who are interested. I just wrote a comment. Yes, but unfortunately, it's full of inaccuracies, both major and minor. Right. And now people are writing me, please tell us what are the inaccuracies. So that's why I brought up the topic here.
Right.
On the heels of the publication of the new book, I think that it sounds like it's the enthusiasm related to that, is got a little momentum, and it got out of hand a little bit, it sounds like. But yeah, it's very nice to have a stabilizing, historical.
Yeah. So this was really a pleasant surprise, that Michael brought this up. So to get
it's because people, I don't have time to answer all the questions I get asked in my blog.
Right.
I mean, not in my blog. I mean, in the comments on my YouTube channel. I meant the YouTube channel.